I think we just got it.
Sorry. I just looked out.
What an excellent start.
Painful.
The timing. Oh, you okay? Are you okay? Nothing is worse than a burp that hurts.
Oh,
Deep in your soul.
it comes from your soul. That's it.
I might keep this in. I don't know. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Letterboxbookclub Book Club. My name is Claire.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And today we will be discussing 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tillie. Trigger warning, terminal illness, loss of death.
Loss of death.
I know,
Loss of a child.
That's why I stopped, so I can have a minute. I'll edit that little bit out. Yeah, loss of a child, etc., etc. Grief, all that emotional stuff. If you can't handle it, feel free to...
Fuck off. No, sorry.
The vibes have changed so much since the first time we tried to do this. What happened in that 5 minutes?
It started raining.
Yeah, apologies if you hear like a bit of background noise, I guess.
It is a stormy day here in sleepy Victoria.
And we are actually recording together, so...
Yeah.
For a while. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It has, yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say. I mean, not really, because we recorded last week, or earlier in the week, and we were together. Ooh, that's loud. ASMR.
Ooh, thunder.
A bit of thundering.
If you can't actually hear it, this is what it sounds like.
Oh, believe me, Kenzie, they can hear it. I reckon they can hear it.
Alright, well I actually don't think it's going to stop. Let me check the bomb.
Check the what?
Oh, it's getting heavier. The Bureau of Meteorology.
Oh, the bomb. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never
It's
heard
called, oh my god. It's called bum.
Oh, okay, cool. And I must say, it is a disgusting day. It is humid, it is hot, and it's stormy, and it's raining, and it's dark. Ideally, it's very gloom weather.
Look at Queensland, sorry, that's like a tornado.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. I mean, it is like cyclone season. Ooh, no. Typical Queensland.
Cool.
Alright, the rain has subsided.
Yes.
I may keep all this in.
Yes. Well, did you know, I think I've told you this, and I always my mum told me this, so the Indigenous Australians didn't believe in seasons. They just had like dry season and monsoon season. Actually,
I'm going to counter that respectfully. On the radio, I remember I was working at a client's house and they listened to like the ABC radio and they had this segment where they talked to an Indigenous Australian and they actually had 6 seasons, but it is defined by like wet weather, cold weather, harvest season, and then it had something to do with some like animal behavior and all that stuff. So
in the end, the lesson is that the summer isn't summer. It's like monsoon. It's not the hot season. It's monsoon season. Yeah, for sure. It's
not what we think it to be.
Yeah, so people are always like, oh my god, you get like 2 good days of weather and then it rains. And it's like, yes, it is monsoon season.
Yes, it's how it is expected. All right. Anyway. If you're sticking around, thank you. We'll go back to the book now.
We will go to the actual book. Here we go.
And Kenzie will kick us off with the blurb.
One kiss lasts a moment, but 1,000 kisses can last a lifetime. One boy, one girl. A bond that is forged in an instant and cherished for a decade. A bond that neither time nor distance can break. A bond that will last forever, or so they believe. When 17-year-old Rune Kristiansen returns from his native Norway to the sleepy town of Blossom Grove, Georgia, where he befriended Poppy Litchfield as a child, he has just one thing on his mind. Why did the girl who was one half of his soul, who promised to wait faithfully for his return, cut him off without a word of explanation? Rune's heart was broken 2 years ago when Poppy fell silent. When he discovers the truth, he finds the greatest heartache is yet to come. And then there's a lie at the end, because it says, a standalone young adult tearjerker romance recommended for ages 14 and up. But there's a sequel coming.
I mean...
However... Upon research, the sequel is about the sister.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, is it technically a sequel? Is it still technically a standalone? But if you've also advertised it as a sequel because it seems like it is moving forward, I suppose, from when Poppy died,
because this is obviously called 1,000 Boy Kisses, and the next one's called 1,000 Broken Pieces.
See, I thought before I read the end, before I was approaching the end, I was like, I can understand where the 1,000 broken hearts, because it's going to be like about Rune living life without and doing going on his great adventure, and then next minute, good night.
All right, seeing as you finished most recently, You can do your thoughts, feelings, emotions first.
Okay. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions. This is a very emotional book, or it can be, depending on how you feel.
Oh, first of all, sorry, should we play my voice memo that I sent you?
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, because you was going through it.
When I finished the book, I sent Claire this voice memo. Okay, yes. And also...
Good luck finding it. I know Messenger likes to delete our messages.
I know, right? But also, it sounds like I'm kind of laughing, which I am, but I am crying.
You're just, like, coping through the pain.
Yeah.
I'm only sending this because I finished the book and I feel it'll be funny to put in the podcast. But I finished the book. I'm fine. It was a good book.
Just at the end. Yeah. That's how I felt inside as well. Yeah, it's an emotional book. If you're someone who like is looking to perhaps encourage a good cry, this book would be it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a fan of like A Fault in Our Stars or 5 Feet Apart, those types of books, movies, whatever medium you've consumed those in, yeah, this book is for you. It's a very simple book and I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be just a bit too simple with like nothing really going on. But I suppose that's the fantasy genre aspect leaking in, because this truly is just a genuine little love story and going through like heartache and like tumultuous life events and stuff, and just a book about love, you know. Excellent discussion surrounding like death and everything, and like how people feel knowing that they're about to die, etc., and obviously how that impacts the people around them and how they feel, and it's almost like a calamitous event in a way, because you can't really stop it. No, beautiful book, emotional. I sobbed a little bit. It was great. It was great. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And yeah, again, as we were just saying before, as we were approaching the end, I'm like, all right, this is a good setup for the second book, because you were hella confused, which now I know why. But and then yeah, and the twist and turn at the end with Rune himself, it's crazy. Tillie Cole, who hurt you? What's going on? I will pay for a therapy session. What's going on? All right, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Kenzie, go.
Okay, first of all, I love this book because I love books about grief.
It just gets you in your feels. Yeah. It gives you that outlet.
Yeah, I especially love books about teen romances in... Excuse me, my Poppy has decided to arc up.
And yeah, it's become a joke now. Kenzie cannot escape the name Poppy.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
All good.
Right. And I especially love books about teen romances because I find them, like, they are so innocent.
Yeah.
And I like seeing the world through, like, you haven't experienced adversity in your life yet. Like,
yeah.
What, and then obviously this is their first experience of grief and dread and having to face life, really, because as a teenager you're never gonna die. Like,
yeah, and it's in the most extreme manner as well, because it's like you've met the love of your life, essentially, or your soulmate, and then suddenly this happens, and yeah, how do you navigate that? How do you cope? How do you deal? How do you help them? Yeah, it's crazy.
And you have your whole life ahead of you, and then suddenly you're faced with mortality. Yeah. And I love books that explore this. I love books especially for a younger audience that can help them explore this.
For sure.
Without the maturity of like an adult relationship, which can overshadow the grief or whatever. I know that a lot of people have some qualms and stuff, but we can get into it because any qualm that will come up, I will have a rebuttal.
I have like no qualms. The only qualm I have is just in the very beginning when they're like 5 years old. There is no way she is that good of Poppy and Rune have that good of sentence structure and like just dialogue.
I thought about that as well. And then Norway, their education level is pretty high, so like I can get that, understand that. Okay, and then I also think because they're in Georgia, which is in the south, like the way they speak, I think is also really like articulate.
That's just a me thing. Yeah, and like just the slang, the southern slang, I guess, like the more or whatever it was and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Ultimately for me, like I've been around 5 and 6 year olds, and it's like I don't know what that says about my niece and nephew in terms of their intelligence, but I know they do not speak so eloquently and succinctly like that. I mean, that's the only thing that bugged me.
Yeah, I get every kid is different. But I know, like I have by the time this comes out, I have a 3-year-old. And he knows, he's like, oh, my best friend is blah, 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 and stuff. And he's like, I love blah, blah, blah. So, although he might not understand, like, the gravity of that, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was thinking about it last night.
Oh, sorry, and also, sorry, he has this, like, intense ownership over his friends. Like, he'll say, I'm not going to say their name, but, like, say his friend is John or whatever. Like, we go to school, and he'll be like, where's my John? Like, this is my John, this is my Claire. Like, yeah, so...
That adds a bit more, depth element into the book as well.
Yeah.
Because it does come across that Rune is like, this is my Poppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poppy Min.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think as I was thinking about it last night, I was conflicted about whether or not I wanted this to be a qualm or if it just makes sense, because it's just a simple book and it's just about love, romance, and teenage adversity. I don't know if there was enough like just angst between Poppy and Rune in terms of when they reunite, kind of semi-reunited, but they both weren't speaking to each other. And I just thought, could there have been a little more, or could there have been something else? But no, honestly, I think it was just fine the way it is. I was just conflicted with that. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, if it was a bigger book, I'm sure they could have explored that more. But yeah, because it was sort of like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in 2 years. Oh my god, we haven't spoken. Oh my gosh, she's going to kiss another girl. I'm mad at you. And then I hate you. And then I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love a good dramatic outburst like that.
So, obviously, they meet when they're 5. They grow up. They're essentially just in a relationship forever.
Must be nice.
And when they are 15, they live next door to each other. It's very cute. Rune,
completely inseparable.
Rune sneaks into Poppy's bedroom all the time. But they're 15, and Rune's father is being expedited back to Norway for his job or whatever. So the entire family has to go. It's 2 years. I understand that they needed the intensity and the angst, etc., but he gets told, we're going back to Norway. How long? I'm not going to go. It's 2 years. I'm not going to go. When do we leave? Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and it's like, how did you hide packing up your entire house?
Yeah. Like, would he have not seen the signs?
Yeah, exactly. And then I know that they held on to the house, like they didn't sell it or anything, because they knew that they were coming back. But I mean, one, they must be hella rich.
Yeah, I mean, batting on an excellent wicket.
Yeah, because would you not at least rent it out for those 2 years, like to earn extra income?
Yeah, they were just paying a maid to come in and clean it every few weeks for 2 years.
Yeah.
Did they tell Rune that they were coming back in 2 years? I feel like that was kind of left in the dark, because then he would have had that extra hope.
Oh yeah, I actually don't think he knew how long it was going to be. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah. No, I just thought...
I think it was, we're leaving. When do we leave? Tomorrow. Yeah,
I just felt like it would have alleviated his anger and stuff if he was told, look, it's just going to be 2 years.
Yeah, and then especially when they knew, like how inseparable Rune and Poppy were, and etc. And then, like, you think the nicer thing would be to give them that time to say goodbye to each other, etc.
Yeah.
And then...
How ironic that it's like a parallel in a way as well, that, you know, Poppy is dying and then when they do reconnect, they are inseparable and still end up just kind of having that time that they could have had before they were initially separated.
Yeah. And then obviously in the time that they go on, they're like, oh, we'll stay in contact, blah, blah, blah. And they do, but then eventually Poppy just stops communicating with Rune, cuts him off, because she finds out she has Hodgkin's lymphoma. And she's dying, essentially, and she goes off for treatment. And so she leaves Georgia. She leaves for 2 years as well to go and receive treatment. And then when she comes back in a palliative sense. They're like, well, there's something more we can do. You're going to die. Another thing that kind of irked me about this is that obviously because Poppy and Rune have been so close, and then so the families are close, you would think at least that the parents would still be in contact.
Yeah.
And they would send a message or something. But instead, again, it's for the plot, like they need that mystery, etc. But they would send a message being like, hey, like terrible news or whatever, like Poppy has cancer, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Or maybe it's just, maybe they were in contact and like Poppy's parents was like, don't tell Rune, because everyone was almost against Rune in telling her things, which really fucked it up. It just didn't seem fair.
Yeah.
But or maybe they just had assumptions, like... Rune wasn't talking to his parents. He was very pissed off. So I feel like even if they tried to be like, all right, we contacted our parents, like, this is blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think he'd want to hear them anyway. It's just out of spite and anger.
Yeah. Obviously, so we don't know this yet. We just know that they've been separated for 2 years. They haven't been talking, blah, blah, blah. They both come back. Poppy goes back to school first or whatever. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're back. Well, her friends are like, you're back. And only Jory knows what's been happening. And then obviously like there's little bursts with her and Rune. She's like, oh, I thought I was saving you, like I thought it would be easier, like so much has happened. I thought that there was a child.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought it was like an accidental pregnancy situation.
Because they made love
the last night.
Yeah, on the last night, because they're like, well, yeah, if we're going out with a bang. Yeah. And then so there was all this mystery surrounding why Poppy had gone, etc. and stuff. And then just the way it was talking, I was like, oh my god, like they use protection, but like that's always obviously not 100%. Yeah. So I thought this was a cautionary tale. But really, don't have sex, you will get cancer and die. Why do all my hair ties fucking break? Sorry.
Alright, Kenzie just has to go tend to her Poppy. Before we get too far ahead, I think it's best to explain whether I don't know if Kenzie's leading up to this, but the whole like the 1,000 boy kisses aspect, I think we should probably elaborate really quickly. So obviously in the beginning of the book, Poppy's grandmother was dying and they were having this moment, and Poppy's grandmother gave her a jar to fill with some paper hearts, and that's where she gets her 1,000 boy kisses from, because I think like her husband or whatever, had great kisses and all that type of stuff, and that whole premise of love and everything. And so her grandma's last wish before she died was to have Poppy experience 1,000 boy kisses. I think it was technically before she met her soulmate or something. Like it was that. But
she wanted her to have adventure.
Yeah. And then within that same day, Poppy was upset and she ran to like their little grove, and then Rune kissed her there for the first time, and that was their first boy kiss out of the 1,000 to go. And that was really cute. And so obviously along this journey, they've been having lots of kisses and awesome little moments, and Poppy will write them down on the hearts. And the best thing about that is the ending sentence is always "my heart almost burst" or something like that, because Poppy's grandma wanted her to have a lot of special kisses, not just like, I don't know, mundane kisses or pecks or whatever. But I suppose any kiss could be special if you really think about it, or depending on how much you love that person. But as they were growing up before they were being separated, they'll be marking off their kisses, and they were on like 300 and something before they left, I think, or even maybe 400 or 500. But a lot of years, a lot of kisses.
But also 1,000 kisses isn't that much if you think about it. So say,
but then again, there's special kisses.
Special kisses. But we're just counting 1,000 kisses. Say you kiss at least once every day, that's 365 a year, so that's only like just over 3 years.
But I feel like as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, you're probably not kissing too much. Obviously the 1,000 boy kisses jar is then acting as almost a countdown / timeline to the very end. All right, Kenzie, continue on with the separation.
All right, so Poppy and Rune decide that it is their life mission to, Rune is going to give Poppy her 1,000 special kisses where her heart almost bursts. Yeah. So she writes on them because they're little paper hearts, and she writes on them because she has a cherry blossom grove near her house, I assume, anyway. So it'll be like, first kiss with my Rune, like in the cherry blossom grove, and my heart almost burst. Yeah. So it's very cute. It's very cute, yes.
All right, sorry, the next few minutes of conversation may have sounded disjointed because we're just starting and stopping, so like I've genuinely forgotten what we're talking about. So
I was just talking about their kisses and stuff. Okay, so let's go back into their separation.
Yeah. Got the premise out of the way.
Yeah, so they separate for 2 years, come back. Rune is a bad boy. He has long hair, he wears a leather jacket, and he smokes.
He's got an attitude.
He has an attitude. He's angry at his father.
Fair enough.
He doesn't take photos anymore. Because photography was a huge thing for him. He wanted to do that. That was his passion. It was a big thing. And Poppy plays the cello. So just remember that. We might come back in. Anyway. And so, they made a promise that their lips would only kiss each other's lips. So there's that.
Yeah, because they are just each other's, like, you're mine and I'm yours, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And there's a party that they go to, and Rune sees that Poppy comes to the party as well, and he's like, I'm going to make her jealous. So he makes it look as though he kisses another girl, but he doesn't. And then Poppy runs off, and then he follows her, and then they fight. And then that's when they have their
makeup as well.
Yeah, they kind of make up, and that's when they have their, like, big, I'm dying!
Outburst,
yeah. Because he's like, I don't understand, like, why you won't talk, like, why you cut me off, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I wanted to save you. And he's like, why? And she's like, I'm dying. She's like, I have, like, months to live at best. So that's fun.
And the reason why Rune wanted to make it look like he was going to kiss another girl is to kind of punish Poppy in a way, because, yeah, he doesn't understand why he was cut off, and he's angry and pissed at her for that as well, which is rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I do love that the change in character direction for Rune, because he was such like a quiet kind of kid as we're learning about him and everything, but I just got really worried when he was constantly like yelling and shouting at Poppy. It's like, I understand you're upset, but bro, like, you need to simmer down before these behaviours turn into something a lot worse, which obviously it doesn't. Yeah. He's just, attitude problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just loved how he kind of still remained angry throughout the rest of the book and has those issues.
Yeah.
And almost everyone is working against him. Like, even Poppy's father, like, doesn't trust him.
Yeah, because he's a bad boy now.
Yeah, because he yells at his father and stuff.
Yeah, and he smokes.
Yeah, and he drinks a lot, underage drinking.
Yeah.
And he's just being a little bit of a hooligan without actually committing any hooligan stuff, which is good, because
I mean, apart from the underage smoking, but
it was nice to see him work through that issues, and like obviously being with Poppy again, the old Rune sort of revived himself from the dead, and not without obviously Poppy's help and his own father's help, which is so yeah, ultimately Rune has that bit of an edge to him now. And it was funny because Poppy, when they kind of reunited properly, Poppy's like, I kind of like the bad boy aspect, like, so like as a joke, but also it's to make her feel alive despite, and make her life worth living almost. It's not necessarily I'm going to do bad shit for the sake of doing bad shit. It's like, well, I'm not going to have the thrill of this forever, so may as well enjoy and make the most of it.
Live every day.
Exactly.
And this is where some of the qualms come into it.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for this.
For other people, for internet people, because they're like, what teenager speaks like this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but have you faced your own mortality? Like, even if she is a teenager, then, and she knows she's going to die. She has an expiry, so of course you would become, I don't know, I feel like you go either two ways. You either go, I'm going to die, I'm depressed, or you go the opposite direction and you say, well, yeah, I'm going to find meaning in everything because I'm dying. Like, I've got to reach the meaning of life now, I guess. So of course she's going to speak like this. And also, growing up in the era of John Green, teenagers do speak like this. I was a teenager who spoke like this. I knew teenagers who spoke like this. And then the whole soulmates thing. Yeah, my boyfriend that I had at 16, I thought was the love of my life. And so...
It's about how young love is just so intense. And again, like, you haven't lived life. You're only so young. There's so much to...
Yeah, and you're going through these huge, not only... like emotional changes in your life, like high school, etc., but also puberty, and your brain is going through these these huge challenges and growths and experiences. So of course everything is super intense and at the forefront of your mind, and you can't think about anything else except for what's happening in front of you right now.
The frontal lobe has not been developed yet. That's where it all
Which is why I always look at couples who met in high school and have stayed together really differently, because I'm like, you haven't experienced life as an adult.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
I know people got together in year 10, so that's nearly 12 years ago now, and they're still together, and so props to them, but that's the only person you know. Essentially, that you know.
In that romantic sense, I guess. I understand that the qualm is obviously surrounding by like the very sophisticated and philosophical sort of dialogue and thoughts and everything. And you've just really explained why. Like, do we want a book filled with super sad, depressing anguish, or do we want a book about like hope and like that have that mature thoughts of facing mortality? I just think it's just a beautiful book in general. Yeah,
and I have qualms again for both sides, which I'll get more into again later when we get towards the end. However, again, I think this is a great book for a teenager maybe experiencing this, to be like, you know what, look, like this person experienced this and they saw the best out of everything and they made their last days an adventure. So, however, I do believe that this book kind of falls into the Manic Pixie Dream Girl area. Do we need a recap of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl? Yes, please. Okay. So, John Green really made this popular without meaning to, and it's a criticism on writing.
Is it just like she's not like other girls?
Yeah, and it was really about it came to kind of fruition throughout Looking for Alaska as well. So Manic Pixie Dream Girl is a stock character type in fiction, usually depicted as a young woman with eccentric personality quirks who serves as a romantic interest for a male protagonist. So what it means is that, there's a girl and her existence is purely to push the male journey.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I've noticed
so
that
in looking for Alaska, it is Alaska pushing Miles to find his great perhaps in, and like it's like all of John Green books in paper towns. It's what's her face pushing what's his face to go and find her.
Abundance of Catherine, is that it?
Abundance of Catherine, that's another one. Dash and Lily.
Oh yeah.
It's this very 2012 to 2016 YA books. Yeah. This book is essentially about Poppy and her journey. However, I feel like sometimes that journey does get put on the back burner because she's pushing Rune to, you need to make up with your father. You need to get back into photography. I applied to college for you.
You need to be nice to your brother.
Yeah, you need to be nice to your brother. So I felt, at the end of the book that it wasn't really about Poppy's journey. It was about Rune's journey, which is fine if you're going to do that. But then you need to make Rune more the central character.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Even though it was a dual POV.
Yeah, I agree with that. I felt like a lot of the time it's all pushed on Rune, and it's about how Rune reacts, his behaviors, what's he gonna do, how is he gonna feel, and a lot of there was a lot of sad moments surrounding him, like him having like little cries and emotional breakdowns and all that type of good stuff. I just thought, but I suppose what can you do with a character that is you've set up to be dying? Like, what can she do? All you could really see and read about is how it affects the people around them. I got that aspect too, where it's really about how Rune's feeling and how he's reacting to things.
And then Poppy's,
I think I wrote something in my notes like this is like all impacting essentially Rune, like how is that kind of fair?
And then like Poppy's dying wish is that Rune makes up with his father or whatever, or like goes to Tish.
And it's like, but it's not yours. I understand you want to set up, the great love of your life to fulfill the rest of his life and his great adventure. But like, you have no right to like apply to a school on his behalf, etc. You don't have a right to. It's in a weird way, it's sort of manipulative.
Have you read or seen If I Stay with Chloe Grace Moretz?
No, I've heard of it though.
Okay, same thing, but like opposite. She's in a coma because she had a car crash and she is a musician.
Oh yes, I've heard of this, definitely.
Yeah, and so he like sends her application off to Juilliard or whatever and she gets in, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it's always Juilliard. It's always Tish. Juilliard. It's never just like Deacon.
Never just a school, never just Deacon. Jesus.
Anyway, okay, so over the next few months, like Poppy and Rune come back together. Poppy gets really sick at one point and they think this is the end, but it's not. And then Rune organises to take her off to New York.
There was a bit of controversy surrounding that.
Yeah, because she was sick. But also, this is these other things with stories like this where the teenager is sick and the parents are like, well, we don't want you doing this. But also, on the other hand, it's like, well, they're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So just let them do.
Yeah, I think that's...
Now is the time to do heroin just once.
I know if you ever, heaven forbid, you never become ill, but like, I'm glad that's going to be on your mind. Final day, good night, just inject it. Go out on a high, literally. But then, her father comes to that conclusion, like, I don't like that you're doing this, but like, this is for her, and we want to make her happy.
And then because her aunt takes them, because she is in a relationship with a really rich guy or whatever, so they get the penthouse, and
must be nice.
But her father's like, they're sleeping in separate rooms because Rune's going as well, but then obviously they don't, they get the whole penthouse to themselves. There is this moment though where Poppy catches Rune in a moment of weakness.
He's having a cry outside.
And it's like, well, how come Poppy doesn't get to have her breakdown? And I know that she's had the 2 years to have it and stuff, and she's like, now I'm at acceptance, but still, like, I wish there was that.
I would have liked to have seen her realize like how much this is going to affect him, and that like in a way it hurts her to know that he's going to be hurting so much. So she's again, like, although she's very accepting of her impending death, but she's still in a way so blasé about it. But then again, as we've just established, like, she's had 2 years to figure this out.
And also obviously her dream is to play at Carnegie Hall.
I'm glad you pronounced it and not me.
And so Rune organises for her to go and play cello at Carnegie Hall. It's a very beautiful moment. I cried my fucking eyes out.
It's like,
So they come back and then they have like this list of things that they want to do before she dies. I can't remember all of them, but anyway, the main one was that she wanted to go to prom.
Yeah,
and
I was crying there too.
Yeah,
because her illness was deteriorating.
Yeah, she wasn't going to make it.
She obviously and was in a wheelchair as well. She couldn't really.
She
didn't have the strength to walk anymore.
Yeah,
like and Rune carrying it everywhere.
So then
the back 20% of the book, it was just tears.
Yeah. So then and also I'm like trying to read but wiping my eyes because I can't see.
Yeah.
So then Rune and all her friends, etc., because everyone knows at this point, because she didn't want to tell anyone that she's dying, because she didn't want to make it about her, but obviously everyone knows at this point.
Is that also like pixie dream girl aspect? Like, I will suffer my own issues and I'll let no one else help me except the love of my life or whatever. Yeah.
So they move prom and
forward.
Yeah, they bring it forward, and it is cherry blossom themed.
Yes, I was crying. This whole metaphor of her being just like a part of the cherry blossom, she'll come and go and circle of life, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Oh, and also goosebumps. And this is a theme in like so many things, but it's always about when you die, like you're going to go home.
Yeah.
And so I think it was after prom or whatever, and like so she kept telling Rune, she's like, like I'm gonna go home.
They went to the beach.
Oh yeah,
afterwards.
that's right. Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go home, like it'll be fine. So they go to the beach, and then she says to Rune, she's like, okay, like I'm ready to go home now.
Yeah.
And then
you knew. Yeah, I was crying.
God damn it. So then they have that scene that is a parallel from the start where her Mimo is dying in the bed or whatever, so she's in her bed.
I was just gonna say it is truly a full circle moment, except the fact that Rune gets 1,000 girl kisses.
Yeah,
but anyway.
So he gives her 1,000th kiss, and then she does the whole
good night.
Good night. Shuts her eyes. And then he's actually dead, and he's still kissing her. He's like 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, like, and then
I know, I was crying.
And then I think her dad is like, it's okay, son, or whatever, like, oh god.
And then,
Alright, so then there's some things that she left behind.
Yeah, some funny things.
So one was that, anyway, ages before though, he thought he threw out his camera in Norway because he's like, fuck this, I'm never taking photos again.
That's fair. But
his dad found it, and so then she got it and gave it to him. Anyway, so that's repaired.
Along with the metaphor of mending his relationship with his father, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure his father really hated that he had to put Rune in that position, and he obviously felt deserved of his anger and resentment and bitterness. But he still, did his best to try and be there for his son. Like, he never gave up on him, which was beautiful.
Yeah, and so that was what her dying wish was, that Rune and his father's relationship would be repaired. And also, she sent his application to Tish, and obviously he got into that. But then she also leaves him his own jar with like empty paper hearts, like they're blue hearts, for him to go and get 1,000 girl kisses.
Yeah, his new adventure.
Yeah. Okay, also I want to talk about some things. Alright, so it's revealed that she's buried in the cherry blossom grove, which seems illegal.
I didn't know that's where you were going with that. Out of every aspect of this, it's just the legality of being buried in a blossom tree is what gets you. Jesus Christ. I love how your brain works sometimes. It really is remarkable.
Well, I don't think you can just go and bury people.
Suspend your disbelief, Kenzie. It's fine.
I can suspend my disbelief on several things, but that one... No, I'm sure they when they got a pen, wrote some really nice letters to council about the poor teenager dying.
Yeah, this is a dying wish.
Yeah. So then he goes off. So there's like double epilogue. And then a bonus chapter. Yeah, I didn't read the bonus chapter. I started reading. I was like, I've read this. Like,
I forget what it had to do with, but it was
no, he just went and saw the sisters, and then Ida is like fine, but then Savannah's like super depressed, and she's wearing a hood, a hoodie, and that defines depression. Actually,
you're popping off today. I love it.
No, it reminds me. You'll have to cut this part out. Sorry.
I mean, it used to be changing your hair drastically.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Okay,
so that's set up for the next book.
Yeah.
That might have been important to read.
I just saw the epilogue. I read it. I skimmed it a lot. Yeah, because I finished the epilogue and I'm a mess, and then it's like bonus chapter, and I'm like,
I can't do this anymore.
Okay, so first epilogue, I guess.
It is the epilogue. There was no second or third. It was the epilogue, Kenzie. I'm sorry.
Oh no, there was 1 year later, and then it was the epilogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they had the 1 year anniversary, I guess, and they had the lanterns.
Yeah, so that's the 1 year later. So 1 year later, Rune gets 1,000 people, which, like, I don't know 1,000 people. So anyway, and they write all of Poppy's kisses on Chinese lanterns, and they send them up in the air.
It's very tangled.
First of all, pollution.
Oh my god, Kenzie.
But imagine that poor person that had to write the, like, after Rune and I made love for the first time or whatever.
Yeah. So
anyway, and he sends them up, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sending the kisses back to Poppy."
Yeah.
Like,
I was crying.
Yeah, I was crying. Oh no! And then oh my god, I forgot there was a point earlier in the book, and so Rune always calls Poppy Poppyman because it translates to my Poppy or whatever. And then when Poppy is trying to get like Rune to have a relationship with his brother or whatever, she goes there at one point or whatever, and he says, "Bye, Poppyman."
Yeah, I know. I was crying.
Because the little brother just hears Rune talking about Poppyman.
The little brother just wants to be like rude, and Rune's ignoring him, and it's
yeah, because Poppy's like, "Why do you think he has his hair long? Like, why do you think he pushes it back like that? Like, he wants to just be like you."
Yeah. And you're being a fucking twat. Yeah. And then we have the epilogue.
Okay, let's talk about the epilogue.
10 years later.
Yeah.
Rune is 27. Oh, is it after the 1 year? So he's technically 28-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, 28-year-old Rune. He's dreaming.
Yeah.
Having a dream, because there's that nice imagery and idea that you see your past loved ones in your dreams, and they come and go, and you can converse and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. You historically have had similar dreams with your father, etc., that like feels real and like tangible. So Rune is dreaming. He's talking to Poppy about their day. Blah blah blah. They have like very mundane sort of conversations, and then Rune has this sort of realization that he's here forever. He's kind of stuck here.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, this feels real.
Yeah. And then Poppy's like, what actually goes on? But then she's like, it was peaceful.
Yeah, she's like, it is real. She's like, yeah, don't worry. Like, you lived a full life. Your family's fine.
Full life at 28.
Yeah, you died. It was quick. Like,
yeah, and peaceful. Yeah, something like that. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Because first of all, he's 28.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's next year, Kenzie. Would you say you've lived a full life?
No. I haven't even scratched the surface of life.
There we go.
For any teenagers listening, listen to that, alright? You think 25's really old? It's not. It's really young. Alright?
Early 20s, yeah, you're still a baby.
Yeah, you're still a baby.
Just a baby.
Yeah. You think about, like, if 100 is 100% of life. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, 28 or 25%.
Yeah.
You're like a quarter of the way there.
A quarter, yeah. Anyway, so there's some discourse online surrounding this epilogue because it's shit.
Do you believe that?
That it's shit, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so if we're going on the train of thought that he died at 28, then sure. Oh, it's shit. Tillie Cole has revealed that he graduated college or whatever and went on to be a war photographer, and where he was stationed got bombed.
Oh.
And that's how he died.
Oh.
I feel like that's a cop-out.
Ooh.
And also, why wouldn't you include that in the book?
Yeah, it sounds important, because otherwise, why would you have the mystery?
Yeah.
I assumed he just good-nighted himself. You know?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, the good night versus someone else's good night, yeah. Yeah, he took himself out of this life.
He unsubscribed.
Yeah, so, and then the other discourse is that he admits to Poppy that, he never found anyone, he never kissed anyone else. So it's like, okay, you never went to a college party at all, you never got drunk and kissed anyone, like, I don't know.
The amount of self-discipline and self-control, I guess. Or even just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He would always say that Poppy was his and that was the love of his life.
So now, to contradict what Tillie Cole has said, though, people think that kind of like the first half of this dream sequence is him, being young or whatever and dreaming. But then when he enters the afterlife, when he realizes, oh, this isn't real, people like to think that he lived a full life and then just died.
Okay.
And so it's kind of just like stuck in time, though. It's like in the Titanic at the end when they die and she's suddenly young again. Like you become like the optimal version of yourself in the afterlife.
For sure.
Okay, here's my qualms with this all. One, if you want to believe in an afterlife, sure, that's fine. That's on you. I don't believe in an afterlife. I think you just reborn into whatever. Or like you're given back to the earth.
Yep.
I don't like this, because this whole book has been about the journey of these two people or whatever, and I don't like perpetuating to teenagers that when you die, you're going to go back to whoever you loved, essentially. Because, like, let's not give that promise to people, because we don't know that's going to happen.
Yeah, no one fucking knows.
Yeah. I wish, I don't know, if there was a disclaimer or something, or I wish there had been a Rune Pov and saying, you know, like, after I may have died young or whatever, but I believe I lived a full life, and in, like, my ultimate dream would be to be with Poppy again.
Yeah. Would you say there should have been a bit more of a disclaimer in regards to that level of spirituality and perhaps religion aspect too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also another qualm I have with it is that this whole setup of Poppy spent her last dying months to set Rune up for life, and he essentially says, well, fuck that, you're the love of my life, I'm not going to do anything else. Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen, if not in an epilogue or in a sequel, of him, you know, like 5 years later or whatever, like, he's like, okay, I've accepted this, now I'm like going to go and fill up my jar in honor of Poppy.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I saw a comment online, someone saying, oh, I wish it had been that he did live a full life, and he like maybe named his daughter Poppy or whatever, or like something like that to honor her, and then in his last days or whatever, he would have filled up his jar. And he would be like, well, I did this all for Poppy, and now I get to go and see her again or whatever.
Yeah, the way you put it like that would have sounded just as an emotional journey, and it just makes sense, because it makes sense of Rune, because you don't ever see him be so selfish, only when he's angry with his other issues. And like everything he did was for Poppy. He was so selfless in that. Surely that should have...
Yeah, and then because otherwise I feel like there's been no growth. Like he just reverts back to that angsty guy, because he's like, okay, well, if I can never kiss Poppy again, then I'm never kissing anyone.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to go and live my life.
And it's weirdly more immature at 28 than at 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I feel like, that doesn't make sense. I feel like, he would want to honour her wishes and everything.
Yeah.
And then it just comes across as so selfish that he's, just takes himself away, or he doesn't relish in the life that he had.
Yeah.
Considering he had his life to live. It's like he learned nothing.
Yeah.
From Poppy's experience.
Yeah.
But then again, he probably never wanted Poppy to set his life up for him, as well, in terms of like the scholarship, not the scholarship, the school application and all that stuff. Yeah, I think it would have been nice for him to traverse through life, and he can have his angsty moments, but he might have met somebody that kind of perhaps even reminded him of Poppy, and was then, like, you know what? Yeah,
if you were going to kill him so young, I wish that she'd doubled down on that and gone younger, like something. Ooh. And like had it be like explicitly dramatic. An accident. Like at 22, so he goes off and he does his college or whatever, because that's to honor Poppy. And then he goes to war and he good night, or he does realize, he's like, well, I don't want to, like, I've gone to college, I've done this, now I want to unsubscribe or whatever. Just
it's very interesting, because I
just don't like the aspect of how she's like, you lived a full life and like your family's fine. It's like, okay, no, but like your family has lost a child.
I suppose it's the dialogue of absolute, like, you've definitely lived a full life at 28, which obviously is not the case, and you can't say you've really loved, because you've only loved like one person. Obviously love has different aspects depending on your relationship with people, and the messaging almost is a bit weird, because like, what, you've loved somebody, you've gone to college, you've had a semi-career, goodbye. I don't know, maybe she just didn't want to, otherwise it'd be just like a secondary book where it's like Rune finding another person and then going through this all over again without a character with terminal illness, I guess. But I would have liked to have seen Rune fill his jar, but still have sort of the heartbreak and the pain knowing that he can't do it with Poppy, but it's for Poppy. But interesting. I've seen no discourse. I haven't looked anywhere for it, but I'm glad you're all up in that space, because that is very interesting outlooks.
Well, also, once you speak 1,000 boy kisses out loud, then your algorithm starts showing you things.
Of course, in my phone, 1,000 boy kisses, Tillie Cole,
and then you watch one TikTok all the way through. So then on your algorithm, and then you go to the Goodreads, and and then you go to the Reddit, and then
it's just a fucking hole.
And then you Google, wait, I don't understand what happened to Rune at the end of 1,000 boy kisses, and then
everyone has an opinion.
And then you find the subreddit. So
you went in deep with this book. I love it though. I just thought it was a good book. Like, I was very bamboozled by not realizing that he died. I'm thinking like, why? Felt like that was a bit unfair, and unnecessary, but it is what it is. And now we're just going to get the sequel, the angsty sequel of Savannah meeting another rebellious type of kid.
You know, it would be funny if she met a boy and he died.
And he tried heroin on his last day of life. And that's the thing with the like second books or sequel books in this universe. Like it's going to be interesting to see how she writes it differently, because both of those characters are grieving in their own way and living life without their significant people. Interesting. Or maybe it just goes in the opposite effect, because it's 1,000 broken hearts. So
1,000 broken pieces.
Broken pieces.
Yeah.
And don't worry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway.
How do you?
Alright, any other qualms? You really popped off this episode. I loved it. I'm just sitting here enjoying the ride.
No, I have no qualms. I'm happy to go to the sky.
We'll go home.
Go home. I'm ready to go home.
I loved that also Poppy admitted that she regrets cutting Rune off, and that wasn't the wisest move.
Yeah.
It just shows that level of maturity.
Yeah.
And then once I surpassed the idea that there was a pregnancy situation, it became then obvious that there were medical issues. To the extent of terminal illness wasn't what I was thinking. Yeah, no, I think that pretty much covers it. We shall go to the Stars That Listen. The Stars That Listen is just a little segment we do on the potty where we read a 1-star review and a 5-star review from Goodreads, and maybe multiple of both depending how we feel. And we start with the 1-star review because we want to end on a positive note with the 5 stars, because the 1 stars can be harsh.
Alright. And I have a discussion for some of them. So.
Okay.
Do I start with my ones?
Start with your ones.
Alright. One, I have 2, but I have quite possibly one of the worst books I've ever read.
Fuck off. We don't search too hard for these, and that's why sometimes we get the same ones.
Okay, and then another one was, first of all, it was full of gifs, and I was like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. But someone was saying, I D and F this because I can't stomach another book that will make... They're like, not because I didn't like it, I did like it, but they said, I can't stomach another book that will make me feel miserable for days after finishing it. They're like, real life sometimes sucks, and I want to use my books as an escape from the harsh reality. So they must have obviously found out about cancer and then been like, I don't want to read about that, D and F'd.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you needed to leave a review for.
I mean, yeah, I think you could have just gone on your merry way.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the discussion I wanted to have. If it doesn't resonate with you, then that's fine. I don't think it warrants you having to go and leave a 1-star review because you did like it, but you just didn't like the end that it was cancer.
But then this is the internet culture. Everyone needs to know why you didn't like it, why it didn't cater to your needs, and all that type of stuff. So it's the individualism of it all. Yeah, I feel like that comment could have been unnecessary, but understandable that you don't want to read sad books about sad things because of their life must obviously seemingly have going through some stuff, maybe sad stuff, and understand that you don't want to, read about it as well. But I don't know, sometimes it is a nice outlet to have a good cry and stuff as well. It has that opposite effect. But understandable, you don't want to read about terminal illnesses or cancers or sad things. That's fine, but
yeah.
Alright, well, lucky for you, I have a second 1-star prepared. My 1-star review is, I'm done pushing myself. I'm sorry, but this book is awful and so ridiculous. The story is way too far-fetched and so cheesy. The epilogue was a bit silly, in my opinion, and the overuse of the word baby. I still read that. I read that weirdly, but it made sense. Sorry, but all that really grates on me, not for me. Because, towards the end, they were saying baby a lot.
Yeah, they were.
And that was the pet name. And, even... when she was talking to her brother, it'd be like, hey baby, and then obviously her mother talking to Poppy, being like, baby, just baby everywhere. 5-star review.
Goodbye, I'm fucking sad. Changing my rating from a 4.5 to a 5 because I haven't stopped thinking about this book in a year.
Oh, wow.
And then this book fucking ruined me.
In the best possible way. My 5-star review, it's a bit of a paragraph. It's not a bit, it is a paragraph. I started this book knowing I'd probably cry, but I wasn't prepared for the number of tears I would shed while reading this book. While reading, I didn't think I would end up liking this book. I was so invested, but the pain I felt reading made me hesitant. I'm very glad I ended up finishing it. I could see some absolutely hating this book, but for me it was beyond powerful and ended up being a 5-star read. Be careful when reading this book. Be prepared to cry the entire time, but if you choose to read it, I hope you end up happy with the choice you made. Or any other discussions, or was that just the discussion
That
point?
was the discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
the singular discussion
Sorry.
point. That's okay. I was expecting a little bit more, Kenzie. Jeez.
After everything I've spoken about.
No, you popped off. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I agree with everything you say because you are correct always. No, you're so insightful.
Thank you. Bow down.
And I guess that will conclude this episode of Letterboxd Book Club.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Love your work.
Love your work. We may read the second book when it comes out, perhaps. Hopefully it's not too similar, because often, yeah, again, in these types of situations, the story outline is quite similar.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be any more or less devastating. But yeah, thanks for listening. Find us on the socials, Letterboxd Book Club, Instagram, TikTok, links in the bio to find us in all the places.
May you find love and adventure in your life that makes your heart almost burst.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Kenzie. And on that note, goodbye.
Goodbye.